Hey everyone, and welcome to Multiplane Podcast. I'm Val.
I'm Ty.
And welcome back, Neff. Welcome back. You couldn't stay away.
Ready for more.
We're so glad that you are back. We are going to talk Mandalorian today. We are going to talk Disney announcements. We are unfortunately going to start this. Oh, nice. I like it. If you're joining us live on Facebook, you can see all the fun that's happening. And if you're joining us live on YouTube, if not, why are you making these choices? You should be here live with us so that we can talk. But we love it when you listen, however it is you're going to listen. So thank you. We're going to start this episode off with some super sad news. Star Wars Boba Fett actor. Oh my gosh, Neff, you've met him. Yeah, Jeremy Bullock dies, age 75. This hit like just around an hour ago. 75, I'm sorry, it's not an old age. I still feel like that's young. And we weren't ready, I don't think, for him to be gone.
No. I mean, the silver lining was from the times that I got to meet him a couple of times with the Mercs here in town. I mean, he was living life. There was no two ways about it. He was still out up until COVID, still doing the con circuit, and he was still out having a good time. Him and his wife had decided to slow down on doing cons in the U.S. It's a long trip for them. It's a big deal. So they were still doing some over in Europe. But the last couple of times he was out here, I mean, we took him out to dinner. We got to take him and his wife out and really spend some time with him. And he has so many stories, one about Star Wars, but about his family and about his grandkids and how much he was just devoting this time to them and spending time with that. And just the fun stories he was having. He was really definitely living life and really enjoying everything that his family had. So
that's really cool.
At least there's that.
I like that a lot of the Star Wars characters, they do like to spend time with the fans. Like, they understand how important it is. And I know that he's not the only Star Wars person that, like, when they come out to do cons here, that you guys get to meet them, which I think is so neat. They know that it's important because you guys are such important to the fandom that they make time, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and he definitely was that type to spend the time and really enjoy it. I mean, he's got a wide breadth of movies that he's been in and different projects he's been a part of over all the years. But even still, his short little time being the best bounty hunter ever, he loved it, and he soaked in all those stories and all the experiences because he might have embellished a few of them, but he had a lot of really fun stories of being on set. And while everybody else was complaining about some of the hot sets that they were on out in desert and everything, he was just having a blast and having fun with everybody, and Peter Mayhew and a few others.
And if you didn't know, Jeremy was not just one of my favorite characters of all, Boba Fett, but he was also in a couple of other movies that you've probably heard of. He was in the James Bond Octopussy film in 1983. He was also on the BBC TV series Doctor Who in the 1970s.
And he was not shy about that one either.
Yeah, so I mean, he had a 45-year career. Like you said, a great wife, 10 grandchildren, which is so cool. So if spend some time Googling him today and looking him up. There's a picture of him on Daniel Logan's Instagram. He posted a picture of them together just about 20 minutes ago. So yeah, just so cool. Daniel Logan, of course. Baby Boba Fett is what I like to say, just little kid Boba.
He's referred to himself that way. It's okay.
Yeah, it is. I've actually spent some good time with Daniel personally, and again, just one of those guys that understands how important the fandom is, and great guy. So sad news, but we're gonna jump into happier news. As I watched my Disney
stock
stock just skyrocket last week when we had all of these announcements during Investors Day. If you missed Investors Day, I don't know where you've been, but Disney has these announcements every year. And I cannot believe this, like more than 137 million global paid subscriptions. That doesn't include like the ones that they give away because you have Verizon, or, you know, if you have Hulu, you get this. Like that's like the paid 137 million paid. Some people are griping a little bit because they did announce with this that their paid subscription is going to go up as of March of next year to $7.99 a month. Or $13.99 if you have like the bundle. So they're going to be the same as Netflix. Like you like the contents, you probably got it free for the first year like I did. It's going up $1, I think, than what I'm paying right now because my year subscription is over, my free one. But that was the only kind of like grumble announcement that I heard, except for there are still, of course, some Disney fans that always have to grumble. Ty, there was a lot of Marvel announcements on top of the Star Wars announcements. There was a lot of regular Disney announcements on top of that. So some really cool. I'm going to kind of go through just like an overview of the announcements, and then we'll jump into some of the big ones. But they basically announced that they're going to release 10 Star Wars series on Disney Plus, 10 Marvel series, as well as 15 Disney live action, Disney animation, and Pixar series, as well as 15 Disney live action, Disney animation, and Pixar features. That's in addition to like the premium content that they're already going to premiere in theaters on channels that they had already told us about. Now, some of these announcements that we saw we've just been waiting for them. We knew they were coming, but we needed dates. We needed things that are going on. Yesterday, I got to see the new trailer for Black Widow because I went to see Wonder Woman in theater. My boyfriend hadn't seen it, and I'm screening it on the 22nd. And I'm like, how come you haven't seen Wonder Woman? Like, what's going on? And he said, because I'm a Marvel kid. And I said, that's a good answer. That's fine. But we're going to go see Wonder Woman.
No, I like Marvel. I don't know anybody that's not excited for that, for the Wonder Woman movie coming out. But I mean, the Marvel projects alone, like you said, some of them they've mentioned, they said they're coming, but we weren't sure what form. And I've been skeptical of a few because like the Mandalorian originally was announced as a Boba Fett movie, and then that got scrapped. And then they came out with the Mandalorian, and those of us that love Mandalorians were like, "Are you sure? I mean, I want this, but are you sure that's the Mandalorian?" So there's a couple of these projects that they announced for Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney that wasn't sure what they were going to do, and there's been a lot up in the air with COVID and how they're filming and creating, and so I was like everybody else, just baffled by the list of everything.
Ty, what are you the most excited about that they announced?
Oh, okay.
Lightyear.
I heard it, and I don't know that I was immediately, but the longer I've thought about it, the more I'm definitely interested for that.
Hear me out.
Lightyear. Explain Lightyear.
So Lightyear, and they also have Chris Evans, who is going to voice the new Buzz Lightyear, which I'll give him the chance. I mean, it's not Tim Allen, but hey, let's go with it.
Yeah.
For some reason, did you guys ever watch the Lightyear animated series that was on Disney?
I watched it a couple of times. It wasn't something I watched every episode of.
Oh, see, I was a kid, and that's you remember, Val? There's the age
you're
difference
a baby.
here.
I keep forgetting you're a child. You're an infant.
And that's actually the cosplay that I posted on our page of my Lightyear suit that I did, or my Space Ranger suit. A lot of that was based off of that animated series. And so basically the animated series, and I don't know why it's not on Disney Plus yet.
Yeah.
Can't find it anywhere, and it's weird. But basically it shows the life of the Buzz Lightyear, not the toy, the actual Space Ranger, the entire fleet of Star Command and all the cadets. And so that's what I'm really hoping that this new one that Pixar is working on is going to be kind of down that storyline where we get to see his actual, like, you know, flights through space, the missions, the things that are happening that creates, or even his origin story, like what created Buzz Lightyear as being one of the highest ranking in Star Command kind of thing.
Yeah, and I was trying to read any article that would explain why they didn't bring in Tim Allen to just continue to this character. Do you know why they changed?
No, and I've been trying to figure that out too, because like even in that animated series, Tim Allen did the voice of Lightyear the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that probably, I mean, I'm sure there was probably some sort of contractual thing. Maybe Tim Allen's done. You know, he's been doing it for how many years now? But the way that this is being explained to me, like you were just saying, is that this is the real hero that the toy's based off of. Maybe they felt this was a safe transition to, I mean another voice and name that we're all familiar with and love.
Well, and when you look at Captain America's butt and you look at Buzz Lightyear's butt, I feel like they're both like he's not just now America's butt, he's the universe's butt now.
I couldn't agree more.
I'm just saying, like, if you have one of the toys, just turn it over today and look at the butt, because it is just this little tight little butt, just like Captain America. So maybe that was, I mean, I don't mind either way. I just, as long as it was something that Tim Allen like agreed to. I hate when they shove people out. Like one of the announcements for Ant-Man is that the girl that plays his daughter found out during the announcements that she's no longer playing his daughter in the movie anymore. And she was very gracious on her Twitter and Instagram accounts, just saying how much she loves the fans and everything. She's sad to hear that she's not going to be moving forward with it. And the girl that they chose was just in that Friday movie. She doesn't really look like who I thought his daughter was. She's the total opposite of it. I mean, I see she's a little more commercial, but to me, I loved his daughter because she was this kind of odd, different duck, just like he is. And now they've got this really cute blonde that looks like, I don't know. She's a great actress. I'm sorry I don't have names with me. I'll look it up, but I have a whole bunch of other stuff inside my brain right now. But I was kind of bummed that they changed her out, because to me, I look at her and I don't think of her dad. I'm sure that they're going to give her some kind of superhero thing going on where she helps her dad and everything, and maybe this, but I don't know. I don't like it, but I might go back later and say they made a great choice. But right now, I don't like it, Disney. I don't like it one bit. The other thing I don't really care for on the Disney announcements was Beauty and the Beast. Luke Evans and Josh Gad will be in a new musical where it's Gaston and him, and they're like, they have adventures. This is the thing. I didn't like that live action movie. I did think that they were the best thing about that movie. I think Luke Evans as Gaston is like one of my favorite things in the world, but I think it's because you got it in these small increments. To have a whole show based on that much personality, I don't know why. I don't know that that's what we needed.
Like this was a stem from Disney's focus over the years on the popularity of some of the villains, right? Bringing that out. I just don't know why they landed on this set.
Yeah.
Compared to many others that they could have.
Yeah, I don't know. Swiss Family Robinson, Ty.
Totally into it.
This is
as long as they have the Great Danes, I'm in.
And then I know you're super excited about this one, Ty. Percy Jackson and
Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson.
Please, Disney Plus, for the love of everything Walt, just do this right. Please.
Right. And keep it going. I think this is a really great story, and I'm very interested to see the rest of it. I feel, as love or hate the movies, I feel like it kind of just dropped, and now I don't know where things are.
No, well, this is a series, so it will be. If it goes well, then we will see a lot more. And I think because it is a series, we hopefully will get to jump into things that they felt like they didn't have time for in the movies, because I didn't mind the movies, but I do think those are some of the books that I did read. And I do think that there is way more in the stories. It kind of reminds me of Ready Player One and Ready Player Two. Like there's a ton in those books that, like Ready Player One just totally ruined that movie. And I feel like kind of that's the same with Percy Jackson, is like you had all of this story to tell that was already there and then you ruined it.
You don't even know, guys. Like, this has the potential to be like Star Wars series magnitude for what they have. So Percy Jackson and the Olympians is just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
He has all these other mythos that are all connected to where you could literally, it could be, they have Star Wars, that's their galactic franchise. They have Marvel. They have, they don't really have a full on spread of something that's fantasy, that's long term, I guess I would say. I mean, they have all their movies, but if you want to have a series that sticks in the fantasy quest kind of genre, this is it. Like, this could be a make or break and seriously do something cool for Disney. So yeah, Percy Jackson.
Some things that I also don't think that we needed, but again, I don't want to question Disney too much because they give me so much that I love. The Mighty Ducks Game Changers with Emilio Estevez. I
did not see that one yet.
I love the Mighty Ducks. I'm a huge fan. I did watch the Mighty Ducks cartoon that used to be out. Like, I did that as well. But it basically picks up where it left off with Emilio Estevez returning as Gordon Bombay. So we'll see how that goes. Turner and Hooch with Josh Peck is going to be there. Big Shot, which is a celebration of girl power in the world of high school basketball, starring John Stamos. So we'll see about that. And The Mysterious Benedict Society. This is based on the best-selling book with Tony Hale and Kristen Schaal, I think that's her name. So there's a couple of things. And then I'm super excited because I am a Nat Geo nerd. I watch Nat Geo and I love it. And I know that's not what everybody usually goes to when they turn on their Disney Plus, but I love it. And there's going to be so many things coming. There's A Real Bug's Life, America the Beautiful, and a couple other things that I'm super excited about. Are you guys Hulu watchers? Are you guys watch the Hulu?
Yeah, I'm getting into it.
Yeah, me too. Like I'm on and off. Like I'll venture over there every once in a while, but there's going to be some new Hulu content. But that's where they're gonna put Handmaid's Tale. And they renewed that for a 5th season, which I started watching that at the beginning of the pandemic. And I had to stop watching it the beginning of season 3 because I was so depressed. It's so good, but it was so depressing watching it while our country was going through what it's going through. I'm like, I got to step away from this.
There's some other parallels in that show that have scared me too. So
exactly. No, that's why I'm like,
feel good movie of the year.
No, the show is really fantastic, but it definitely is not the feel-good show of the year, but it is definitely good TV. If you're a fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that's going to be over there. This is kind of cool. There's going to be a series adaptation of Alien. What do you guys think about that?
I'm in. I mean, with Prometheus and everything else, I don't know where else this could go. But
yeah,
I don't know. As an old friend once said, "Show me what you got." I'm interested to see where they head.
I'm a huge fan of the FX channel. I like to watch FX, and so I'll go over there and see what's going on. All right, Disney Studios content. Let's start with Lucasfilms. Obi-Wan Kenobi with Hayden Christensen returning.
Sure, why not? I'm not for. There's a lot of buzz about the Hayden Christensen part. I like the guy. I think he's a fine actor. I'm interested to see what he's got for this. I also don't feel like we're going to get Darth Vader the whole show either. I mean, it's called Obi-Wan, so there's going to be probably flashbacks, new meetings, new things. He's going to see something on the teleprompter from Vader and his army. Something.
This is one that I'm super excited for.
I have been excited for Obi-Wan Kenobi for a long time, but again, it came out the same time originally when we thought we were getting a Boba Fett movie. And so we were like, whatever, this is just
the only difference though was that at one point during all of that still confusion, was it was so much going forward that Ewan McGregor finally quit dodging the question and was like, absolutely, it's happening. They've told me I can. And that's when I started getting really excited.
Yeah, because he has gone in public to say that he sometimes doesn't like the fact that he played this character because the fandom is weird. And, like he had a little time period where he was like, did I make the right decision being in these movies?
And I will say that, I mean, it seems like every actor who has touched Star Wars, other than recently, even recently, has had a question, right, about the fandom, because there's toxic fandom involved in anything this big. But I mean, let's be honest, I absolutely love the prequels. We've discussed this, but there's a lot of people that didn't. I can't think of the actor's name right now, but the one who played Jar Jar,
because he has death threats.
Right. But more, I mean, he tells a great story about his life and about how being Jar Jar literally spun him down and was in a huge depressive state. Not necessarily just the fandoms, it's just the reception of those movies, because they all poured their heart into that project and loved it. So I can only imagine that anybody tied directly to, I mean, Hayden Christensen, he's not got, I'm happy to see him back in Star Wars because he's not had the best outlook either.
He hasn't. Well, I mean, the kid that played Anakin is back in the hospital.
Right.
So
Ewan McGregor, as great as he was, and I will say probably my favorite part of the whole prequel series, and then through other characters that he's not a part of it, but his portrayal of that character through the different stages was amazing. But I'm certain there were people who that was not their Alec Guinness, and they gave him a lot of problems. So I'm sure he's had a lot of backlash too.
Well, and if you look at that, because usually Star Wars in the past, the characters that the actors that they get to play these characters are usually not very well known. And that continued on with the newer movies. But with this specific one, you actually had some actors that had some credit already. You had Ewan McGregor, which had made a ton of really great films. And then you have my favorite, Qui-Gon Jinn. I mean, he's, Academy Award nominated actor.
He has a certain set of skills.
He does have a certain set of skills.
I had to.
Those two together are probably my favorite part of all the Star Wars movies. So that's I just can't hate the prequels. And so I'm really excited I'm hoping there were a few things about the prequels that I didn't totally love. But I'm hoping that maybe Hayden Christensen gets to show something that we didn't get to see, and he gets to redeem himself for the people that basically thought he ruined Star Wars when those movies came out. But it had a lot to do. It had a lot to do with writing and editing. Like it can't all be put on one person.
Directing
everything. So I'm excited because, again, they have a really high standard to live up to, because The Mandalorian has just blown us out of the water with content, and so I'm really excited. I love Ewan McGregor. He's one of my favorite actors, and I am more than excited about this one.
I mean, let's face it, if it's just Obi-Wan on a couch all day for that many years, casually watching Luke be safe, I'm in.
Yeah. They said, so this is basically what it says: Obi-Wan Kenobi starring Ewan McGregor with Hayden Christensen returning as Darth Vader, and 2 series set in the Mandalorian area from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Rangers of the New Republic, and what's the other one?
And the best one ever. I haven't even seen it yet, and I know it's the best. Ahsoka.
I knew you were going to be super stoked about that just after our last conversation. So, can anybody explain Rangers of the New Republic?
Explain? I don't know yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be. If there's theories out there about maybe Cara Dune being split off into that or something, as she's a part of the New Republic and an officer. Yeah. But there's also, I mean, and I love this theory. Yeah. We'll see. But our 2 X-Wing pilots that saved the Mandalorian's bacon on the ice planet that showed up shooting, they were patrolling the Outer Rim. I'd like to see that kind of mentality, right? Because they went out and they eventually met Cara Dune and, recalled her back, talked her back into joining the cause. So I think we're probably going to be looking up that avenue, but seeing them, I hope, play more in the Outer Rim, right? And go around to different planets, or maybe helping try to do the peacekeeping, but maybe they're also tracking down ex-Imperials or leftover Imperials, I should say.
We also have Andor, which they announced, and Star Wars The Bad Batch, which I am super excited for The Bad Batch. But this is the thing. If you decide that you're going to Google The Bad Batch, make sure you put Star Wars before it. Because during the pandemic, I watched a movie called The Bad Batch, and you're going to look at it. You're going to see, I don't understand why I shouldn't watch this movie. You've got Jim Carrey, you've got Jason Momoa, you've got Keanu Reeves. Why shouldn't I dive down that rabbit hole? Don't do it. It sucks. Don't do it. No. There's cannibalism. There's weird cults. It's okay. If you're really into watching really bad movies, which is kind of something my boyfriend and I, like, we try and find the best bad movies that there are out there. Bad Batch is definitely that. But make sure if you want to see the trailer, either head over to our Facebook page and watch it because we posted it, or you can actually put in Star Wars, The Bad Batch, and you can see kind of a little bit of what they've already posted about that. They also have Star Wars Visions, Lando, and a droid story. What do you guys think about those?
I'm mostly excited for Andor and the droid, besides Ahsoka and everything. But
I'm still waiting for
what?
The last. You missed one.
Well, we haven't got there yet.
I'm not there
the
yet.
Acolyte.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. Sorry, it's down on my.
That one's going to be. I think that was the most interesting one. Title-wise, right? They've given us very little about what it's going to be and where and everything. We know kind of a time frame, and those of us really deep divers already know what Acolyte's referring to. But like we've learned with the Mandalorian, the pedestrians, the non-deep dive Star Wars fans, I'm impressed at how Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have brought out the Mandalorian in a way that has been digestible for the masses too, right? It is great for us super fans, but it's been. So I'm interested with the Acolyte to see how they're going to kind of bring that around to the bigger audience.
They also announced that they're going to be revisiting Willow, and they're going to bring Warwick Davis back for Willow.
They're not doing Star Wars movies. The man needs work.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a few other movies, but I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. They also said that they're going to, for Disney, December 2023, they're going to have a new feature film, Rogue Squadron, from director Patty Jenkins. So if you love Wonder Woman and you love Patty Jenkins, she's going to be directing Rogue Squadron. What do you guys think about that?
I'm excited.
Into it.
I'm excited for sure. She's definitely shown that she's got the chops and can get in there. I mean, love or hate the DC universe, but Wonder Woman was not one of those love or hate. The mass anyway loved it. It was a great movie. I like the pacing, the story, the direction, the shots, everything about that one was really good and enthralling for, again, a lot of people, not just your comic book fans, but for the Muggles. They got to really enjoy that too. So I think she's a great choice for it. Absolutely.
We've been hearing this over the last couple of years because I pay really sharp attention to Indiana Jones and that franchise. And we heard a while ago that it was coming and then it wasn't coming, the fifth movie, and then it was coming and then it's not coming. It is coming. And Harrison Ford is going to be in it, but it's a different director. It's going to be the first Indiana Jones movie where we don't have Steven Spielberg. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Show me what you got.
It's James Mangold, and he's a pretty good director. I kind of feel like I thought they were going to be passing the torch when they had the last Indiana Jones movie
with the Crystal Skull.
What one is that? I don't know what we're talking about. they have a 5 on here, and I kind of find it weird because there's only
the Lead Fridge Journey.
Listen,
there's only 3 other Indiana Jones movies.
All of the movies, but James Mangold is the director of Logan, The Wolverine, Ford versus Ferrari, and Walk the Line. So, I mean, I think he's proven that he can do good high impact movies.
Both the action and the depth to it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we'll see. But we talked about this on Movies That Make Us last week, is that, Indiana Jones at some point could turn into a James Bond, and we wouldn't mind it at all now that Harrison Ford's kind of, getting off into his age and maybe not wanting to come back after this one, is that we could have different people playing Indiana Jones. And that would be okay. I used to be like, no, I don't want an Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford. But now I'm an adult and I'm grown up and I understand that if the story's good, I just want some Indiana Jones movies in my life.
Right. And it's also like, 15, 20 years ago, you're talking about recasting the role. Yeah. Whereas now it's more like, Indy's this younger sprite kind of a character. I don't mean any offense, but the man breaks his ankle flying nowadays. So, he's getting up there.
Crash landing on golf courses. So, he's not dead.
Like you do.
Yeah, like you do. And then there's the big one that everybody either is loving or hating this announcement. Star Wars fans, you are a finicky bunch. And that is Taika Waititi, Children of Blood and Bone.
Give me more Taika. Yep. Give it to me.
Give it to me. I'm not always on board with his humor, but I really love his directing and his role. I absolutely loved everything about him as IG-11 and in that Star Wars world and the episodes he was a part of and directing. I think he is right for Star Wars.
But some people are saying that whatever his Star Wars feature that he's going to be putting together, they don't understand why it's going to be a brand new story and not about, because there's just so much content out there that is not getting touched. And I'm like, did you just see all of the titles that they just gave you for series? They're going to be out there touching everything. They're going to be nudging, touching, racing, whatever they're going to be out there. I don't mind having something new that came from someone else's brilliant mind.
Yeah. All I can say is that it's Taika, so I will eat it up.
Yeah.
And I'm interested. If The Mandalorian has taught us anything, although it's dancing within these borders, right, of this world we know, but I feel, other than, I guess, some big names, right, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, there's a lot they can just do and not really have too much consequences to it. And so I think if they've learned anything from 7, 8, and 9, that of a fan reaction of touching sacred territory, I think it's that I think the best future for Star Wars is to look beyond and go into new storyline stuff. Detach, maybe keep those parameters and borders we know and love, the feeling, the world, how that works. But but even that, feel free to teach us something new. I feel like every time we see a Jedi, we learn something new about how the Force works or how they can use the Force. So.
Speaking of bringing new content to Disney movies, let's talk about Hocus Pocus 2, 3 Men and a Baby, Cheaper by the Dozen, and Sister Act. Those are all new movies coming out by Disney.
Well, Disney, again, you have one job. You have a book that you published and released. You have the storyline that could send this into a good movie. Please.
Talking about Hocus Pocus?
Do not, yes, Hocus Pocus 2. Do not wreck this, or I'm going to be upset.
I am getting this feeling. While I do trust Disney, if I've learned nothing over the years, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, I'm in for everything. But I do feel this is a little bit like just hucking some spaghetti at the wall and seeing what's going to stick. And worst case, they do a season. Then it's over. But they have that freedom in their own streaming service to do it. So I do feel like they're feeling more open to risks.
So these are movies.
Are they coming out?
We were out of the series. Yes, we're out of series and we're into theater releases. So the one thing that Disney did that Warner Brothers didn't do during their release, because what Warner Brothers, it was kind of a quiet day. It wasn't as big as the Disney announcements, but Warner Brothers said that they are going to bring all the movies that they're going to bring to theater next year. They're also going to bring to HBO Max, right? Disney said, we're going to bring some stuff to Disney Plus, but we're going to have some theatrical release only, which makes me really happy. I respect the fact that we are still in a pandemic, that even though we are going to get vaccination, it's going to take a long time, but I don't want to see theaters die. I went to a theater last night. There was 2 other people in there with me. It was a 5:00 movie. I felt safe. It was clean. Like, I felt really good, and I want people to start feeling comfortable going back into a theater experience, because the companies that do own these theaters are taking really good care. They've never been cleaner. My feet are not sticking to anything. It's fantastic. Okay. But I thought it was really gutsy and really amazing that Disney said, no, we are not going to put everything on Disney Plus. We are going to send things. Certain things are going to be like Mulan, where you do pay that extra, which I have no problem with, because if you're going to rent a movie that you're streaming, it's going to be anywhere from $9.99 to $30 anyways, depending on the movie. So I don't care if it's good, great. I actually am kind of excited about Three Men and a Baby remake with Zac Efron, because I loved Three Men and a Baby. I loved Three Men and a Little Lady, and I loved those three actors that were in that movie, but that has been long enough where I think it has totally aged out. Where if you brought someone like Zac Efron in and you picked 3 or 2 other co-stars that were really great, I think this could actually be really fun, because I think that has been far enough away where they could do a spin on it and remake it, and I will watch Zac Efron do anything. So he is hilarious. I love him. Cheaper by the dozen. There's like 99 of these movies.
Stop with your money.
But it's Kenya Barris and Gabrielle Union, so there's a little spin on that. Sister Act. I love all the Sister Act movies, and I love Whoopi Goldberg. And Tyler, it's a Tyler Perry production, so I mean that's totally fine. There's like 3 million Pinocchio movies coming out in theaters. Not really. There's like 4, but that just seems like a lot coming out at the same time. This one, however, is going to have Tom Hanks in it, so all the other ones can suck it.
Yep,
Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, a hybrid live action animated film. Okay, though, but listen. So it's a hybrid live action. And I just saw, have you guys seen the trailer for the new Tom and Jerry hybrid live action movie? I saw it in the theater. I saw it in the theater last night, and my boyfriend was laughing his butt off because I love Tom and Jerry. Yeah, no, he was like, I was looking at it. I'm like, you want to see this? Like, I thought he was going to be like, this is stupid. It's a kid movie. And then I realized he's a child, which is fine because we both are. But if they make this kind of like Enchanted, which people forget that Enchanted is a Disney movie, and I loved Enchanted because you've got the mixture of the live action and the animation hybrid. Ty, if you don't like Enchanted, I'm going to kick you off this right now.
Right now. Gone.
Like Enchanted.
Bye. We're going to do the rest of the show without Ty.
Perfect. So I love Enchanted, just so we're clear.
If you don't like Enchanted, then you've had a horrible childhood and you have a black heart and somebody needs to buy you ice cream. That's what needs to happen.
For the record, I'm sorry, I don't like Enchanted, and we're getting a waste of money with Disenchanted. I'm sorry.
I'm excited about Disenchanted. I'm also excited about Peter Pan and Wendy, starring Jude Law as Captain Hook. And Yara Shahindi as Tinkerbell. I think this is so cool. Jude Law is one of those actors that I either do not like him in a role or I absolutely love him. There's been no middle of the road. Like, he leaves an impression or a bad taste.
I'm trying to think of what I've seen that I didn't like him in. I mean, I haven't seen his whole body of work, but I really went the ones that I've seen, and maybe that's just more the geek culture stuff, but I think he was just phenomenal in the roles. So I'm very excited for that.
No, I mean, I think that's good because when you have actors that I think hit down the middle of the road, that means that they're not really trying. So the fact that I'm like, sometimes means that he really, because I do like him so much, if he plays a bad guy or like somebody that's off color, it means that he's really doing it because I'm like, but yeah, so he's not always my favorite, but I totally love him. When he was in The Young Pope, if you haven't seen that, it is not Disney at all. But he is really good in that show. And of course he was in Captain Marvel. So we all love him in that. Sherlock Holmes, which is great. Fantastic Beasts. So he's going to be in that. I love the idea of that show. I love the Peter Pan movies. You can give me as many Peter Pan, Captain Hook movies as you want. I know a lot of for a while there, it was like how Pinocchio, we have like 4 coming out in this next year. There was one year we had like 7 Hook, Peter Pan, or Wendy movies. It just kind of all hit at the and I was like, bring it on. I don't mind any of these. We also have Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The Ice Age is coming back, and Night at the Museum. These are all going to be animated takes on these. So it's Night at the Museum animated, starring Simon Pegg. Or no, Simon Pegg, sorry, is in Ice Age of Buck Wild. And then Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So if you like those, I am excited about Jungle Cruise. We've been waiting for that movie with The Rock to come out for a while. It looks great. We have Cruella coming out, which her hair and makeup and outfits look amazing. There's going to be a prequel to The Lion King, and then there's going to be Little Mermaid. What they did with the live version of Little Mermaid on NBC was absolutely horrifying.
You cannot put that next to whatever this is going to be.
But that's the last thing. But that's the last thing.
Did you watch any of the garbage that they do for that NBC thing?
I have not enjoyed
one single production.
Who's in charge of that? I feel like Disney was like, okay, we will let whoever your cousin's sister's friend do these because
third grade.
We lost a bet because they're all awful.
They have with amazing talent involved.
Yeah,
that still falls apart.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm excited for Little Mermaid. I'm very interested to see what they have with that. But you're right about that one. That one was just painful.
Raya and the Last Dragon is going to be on Disney Plus, but it's also going to be a premiere access and theatrical release in March of 2021. So you can go see in the theater. You can rent it for $29.99. This is made by the same person that made the Pixar short where the mom is making the dumplings and then she turns it into her child and then she eats it. So I'm super excited because I thought that was really weird and it made an impression on me. So I'm excited about what this is going to be.
Weird and sweet at the same time.
Yes. I remember the little girl that was sitting behind me in the screening and we're all watching it and nobody knows if it's okay to like what's going on or not because none of us knew what was happening, and this little girl said when it was over, well, that was weird. She was like 6
I just want to eat you up. Come on, it's sweet. Haven't we all heard our grandma say that to us?
And of course, what opens next week on Disney Plus? What do we have? Are you guys going to tell me or are you going to make me? Soul.
Waiting on you.
It took me a second. I was like, wait, what's going on?
Soul. Disney Soul. I get to watch that in a few days. I'm super excited about it. So I really think that they have taken what they make in the Disney shorts and the Pixar shorts, and they've let those short stories and that creativity really infect us. And now they're starting to make full-length features that have that same feel. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I just really excited where Disney and Pixar are going when they get creative and they don't regurgitate things.
Trying new stuff, new takes on things.
All I can say is, please don't give me a repeat of Inside Out.
Why?
I mean, I liked Inside Out.
Sorry, Neff. Let me update you. So when it comes to Pixar, Inside Out, I'm not a fan. I guess we could say that's one thing that me and Val disagree on.
All right.
But yeah,
I'm a huge fan of Pixar and what they've come out with, and I love feeling my own feelings and feeling feelings about feelings. So I was involved on that one.
Well, and we have some Disney animated series, Baymax, which is going to come out, which I love anything to do with Baymax and Big Hero 6. Zootopia Plus is what they're calling the Zootopia one. Tiana, which I think goes right hand in hand with the ride that they are refurbishing. Moana, the series. And Iwaju, I think is what it's called, which...
Yep.
Yeah, which is a collaboration with the Pan-African comic book entertainment company, Coagli, which I think is really cool that they're doing. Did I say that right, or did I totally kill that? I don't know. But I'm excited that they're reaching out and doing these different things. So that's that's not even everything. Lightyear was all the way down here. So we already talked about Lightyear. So we could get into more, but we actually want to talk about The Mandalorian before we have to go. So
there's a lot there to talk about.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you that I feel like last week's episode of The Mandalorian is probably my favorite of the season. One, last season we had an episode with this same comedian on it, and I totally love him. And that was my least favorite episode of the year. I hated it, and I was so disappointed. And I know a lot of people did like that episode, but I absolutely hated it. And so I really loved it. Yeah, I don't know.
I will say I am not a fan of Bill Burr. I'm not a fan of him at all.
It's because you're too nice of a person. It's because you're too nice of a person. My boyfriend and I love Bill Burr, and it's because sometimes we're jerks. And so Bill Burr helps us.
That's why I follow like Lewis Black and a few others. I've got some jerks that I pay attention to. I've got a few.
You're a really, really nice person. And so like my boyfriend sometimes has a little bit of like an anger issue. I think it's one, because he's a drama queen, and two, he's from the East Coast. So when you put like drama queen and East Coast together, like that, it is Bill Burr basically. And so we relate to Bill Burr, and I was really excited about this episode because Bill Burr, I feel like his character represented us as the audience. He was asking questions to the Mandalorian that I feel like we wanted to know. We wanted to ask. He was also humanizing all of the situations. I don't know if you guys felt that as well, but he really.
I mean, in this episode, along with that same theme, is a lot. We got to see as they're going through that town, and they're seeing the locals, and Bill Burr says that line, something to the effect of, light side, dark side, they're all the same to these guys as far as the Republic or the Imperials. Doesn't mean anything. There's always somebody ruling and always someone being ruled.
Yeah, and I think that humanized it. Yeah, it hits. Sure. I feel like when they were in the not the car, but when they were in the vehicle together, it was kind of like a buddy movie. You know how when you get two guys or whatever in a buddy movie and they have like these moments together where they both grow. And I feel like he was really helping the Mandalorian question the things that we've all been questioning for him over the past 4 episodes. What do you think, Ty?
Sure.
All I got to say is my theory about him and his belief system being shattered. Yeah, I guess for those of you guys, this is spoilers, by the way. If you haven't been updated, just tune out right now.
Yeah.
You've made it too far already.
Yeah, that's from like the second that we see him take off that helmet to get his face scanned.
Yeah.
I screamed and I'm like, hey, this is proving, I can't argue this with my wife because she's not fully immersed into my theory and things that are going on. But when I get to work or with some of my buddies, you can't shut me up. And I'm like, look, I'm telling you, this is what's happening. He's changing his philosophies. We're going to get some serious belief systems going on here.
I think if things haven't pushed him and questioned him enough already, he's now hanging out with Boba Fett. He's going to have a lot of questions and a lot of stories that he's going to learn about and open his mind to other things, different things.
I love it when Bill Burr meets Boba Fett and he's like, oh, I thought you were this other guy.
Steps aside and there he is.
I love it. But I think that's right. Like, he not only took off his helmet during this episode, but he got his face scanned into the system. He basically was a person that was off the grid their entire life that just ordered DoorDash. Like, now everybody, you know what I mean? Like, he is now in the system. So this has got to play a big part of what's going on. But there were, some other things when they're talking to the general in the mess hall,
that was a tense and powerful moment.
Yeah, like he had this moment, and I feel like because where we are as a nation right now, it was there was kind of some political statements that were made, but they weren't like throw down your they weren't jammed down our throat. It was, he's like, we're in charge now, and Bill Burr's like, well, but is it okay? Like, you killed, all of these people, and what about their families and all this? Because we just see the troopers in totally useless armor, right? The whole Star Wars galaxy, we just see troopers, right? We don't see people, we don't see we don't see any of that. We just see just streams of the same person over and over. And so what he did is he humanized these characters for us. But I do want to say, just watching this last episode, I really did sit back and say, what the heck is their armor for? Like, why do they even wear it? It doesn't stop
that moment where Din Djarin is wearing that armor fighting the insurgents up on top, and he takes that first hit, you watch him behave as though he's still wearing his Beskar, and he takes that shoulder hit and is like,
oh wait, I got stuff.
This time. And that was important. I think that was fun to also for the fans too, right? Because this show is the first public consumed thing not in the books that shows what Beskar can and can't do, the durability of it and such. So I think it is important. I mean, we got to see in the Boba Fett episode when Boba Fett's running around with his gaffy stick, just taking names left and right, shattering that armor into bits.
Again, my favorite scene of the entire series.
Hey, well, dad bods are important too. Okay, I'm glad we're getting some representation.
Aside from the body shaming that he got for that, which pissed me off, like
this is the thing. I brought that up on Movies That Make Us. Is that this is the thing? He hasn't worn that armor in how many years? He has totally changed in size, age, everything. If he would have come out and that would have fit perfectly, I kind of would have been angry. I knew that all of my Mando friends that have been locked up for quarantine, if they put on their Mando armor today, they would look like that. And I bet they all just were like, see, even Boba Fett. Like, I liked it. I thought
not
it was
only
great.
even Boba Fett, but he's still taking names up there in that condition. That's perfect.
Look at what he had to crawl out of, you guys. You don't think he could have done some stress eating? I'm
totally okay with it. I've been stress eating for 9 months and I can't fit into my armor, but so
I haven't tried mine on. So
when he busts out with the Mao Raku fighting style, I'm oh my gosh.
Ty, I immediately thought of you. Is some of the stuff that we saw, like the stick and all this stuff, it's all New Zealand based, right? Like from their native. Yeah. I was so excited.
Right even to the expressions he was giving during the fight.
Everything.
I mean, drawing the fear, bringing that enemy out. Oh, yeah.
He has such a good fight face. He has such a good fight face.
That is kind of a side tangent, right? Between Tamara Morrison and a couple other New Zealand actors, and then even with Jason Momoa, they've all been, I wouldn't even say casually, right, even with Aquaman, but trying to bring a little bit of movie magic to those cultures that we don't get to see much, right? They get a little exploited. It's been neat to see the fighting styles, see the haka out there on actual movies, and then really digging into it. So I was stoked to see that they were letting Tamura bring what he wanted to the character and bring that fight.
That's the thing. As soon as I seen him with the staff, I'm like, hey, that's just like a Tahia, which is it's their martial art. They're the only Polynesian culture that has like a martial art. And as soon as he takes that first swing, and like I've memorized, the way the motion, how the body moves when they're doing that kind of stuff, that first swing, when I see his arm lock up and him just brace, I'm like, no. They gave him probably the
goal was not only to see the style, but see the power behind it and with it, because those troopers were not knocked over. They weren't slightly cracking their helmets. They were obliterating their spines as they recoiled from those hits. It was.
I totally thought of you, Ty. I was so excited, and I'm really excited that they let him keep the outfit that he basically made his own, his personality over these past years, that he put that under the armor. I know that like all of the, the troops are like, okay, so is that something we can do now? Like immediately everybody's is that something we can do now?
Comfy Boba. Can I do this?
Can I be comfy Boba? Can I actually sit for once?
That man is not wearing a codpiece anymore. Is that okay? Can I get rid of this?
He still has one on. You just can't see it. So
I was interested to see what they were going to do with his outfit, because initially when he's wearing that armor, this is a Hail Mary. He ran in there, got that, threw it on as quick as he could, and you saw that underneath. But when we get to the next time we see him in the next episode, and not only that beautiful paint job, but that he's still wearing that armor that way with the underpieces. I mean, it looks a little bit better put together now, not so hapdash throw it on. But I was happy to see that they weren't going to put him back in a tiny little skinny flight suit and make him all rigid and tiny again.
Yeah, no, I really like what they allowed him to do with this, and I think that's what we're seeing a lot in the Mandalorian, but also in the newer Disney Star Wars, is that it's a lot. We're getting to see the personalities that come from the actors. We're getting a lot of diversity, and I'm super excited about it. I loved the paint job. A lot of people went on Twitter and they're like, where did he get that paint? Look, if I'd been looking for my suit as long as he was looking for his suit, I was going to be ready when I got it. So tighten your lip up, because his ship is awesome. I'm sure he's got a lot of other stuff, and I love that we got to see inside the ship as it's rotating. And I just got the goosebumps, because I'm I want to be. That is my favorite ship. It's my favorite.
And I was just rewatching that episode where they're up there with the child and everything. And as we hear that noise, we see Mando's helmet turn, and he's training on something, and that camera pans, and there's Slave One just casually coming through. I think I stood up out of my chair screaming. I just was I was so hopeful anyway, for the fact that we not only get Boba and his armor, but we get Slave One. We get to see that ship in action and moving. The callback to when Jango owned it in the prequels, and he uses that bomb detonator that pops down, the exact same noise, and it's just made of love. This is a wonderful show.
All right, Neff, what Jedi do you think is going to respond to that call that Grogu said?
I don't know. I love the mass-produced thing, and I know for a fact that Samuel L. Jackson would say yes, but I cannot imagine. They just brought Boba back from the dead. I really cannot imagine they're going to bring back Mace Windu.
I think it'd be cool if they did, but
it would be amazing. I would love it, especially if he talks about snakes on a plane or sneaks in a few bad words. It would be great, but I really don't know. I'm very interested to see, because this is also the time frame where Luke's out there somewhere.
Sebastian Stan.
Right. So I don't know. Right. We'll see. I mean, this could be several other Jedi or somebody new to it. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. My one, and we're going to get to predictions. If you guys talked about your favorite moments, and we can get to predictions. I don't know if you have another moment you want to share. There were just so many great ones with this episode. Of course, tomorrow we have the final episode of the season. Yeah.
All the Ahsoka fighting. Watching her.
Talk about this specific episode. Yeah. But I really hope, because they showed the child. One, I love that they show Mandalorian getting excited when he says Grogu, and then he looks over and then he's just excited. They're just showing it more human part.
That moment in the cockpit at the opening of that episode, that was neat to see Din Djarin and how he is bonding further with the kid, with the child, with Grogu, and just that relationship. And then and from a dad's point of view, parent probably, just seeing how dang. No, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. No, you did great. I mean, I think I've had those moments too, where you just burst out of emotion and happiness and have to counter and explain. So I thought there was a lot of really neat moments with them.
What I would like to see happen is, I know that there's all of this power now that's behind Mandalorian to go get Grogu and to save him. But while Grogu was on that rock, something happened to him. And he remembered some things, and now he's captive. And I hope the Mandalorian has been trying to save him this whole season, right? Up in the tail end of last season. I hope that he gets there and Grogu saves everyone else. Like something hits and there's a Matrix moment where he realizes who he is and he realizes his powers. And there's this Matrix.
We had a little bit.
Yes,
we had a little bit with where they were in the end of I think the second or the last episode, but with the flame trooper coming in and filling, and they were all doomed, and he managed to save them. Yeah. So I'm interested to see. I hope that's right.
I hope they all get there and there's good fights and there's good stuff, but then I hope that Grogu, I hope we see a little more from him and his maturity and his remembering things. What do you guys think?
He's gonna have a purple saber because he's tempting fate with some dark side emotions.
Well, probably.
No, as soon as
that's everything that Ahsoka was afraid of. The same thing Luke was afraid of with Ben, is seeing that raw power, that raw strength, but also the attachment. And Ahsoka is obviously recalling back to Anakin and how great she thought he was, but that attachment and how that ultimately led him to where he is. And that's, at this point in Ahsoka's life, she knows all that, right? That's all happened. Rebels has happened, Clone Wars and everything. So I think it's a very valid thing to see. And, there's the other thing about Yoda, right? The only other real character of that species we've been familiarized with. We've seen others, but he's the only one we know of any kind. And he constantly kind of tends to allude to they're not lessons he's teaching because it's in a book somewhere. It's lessons he's learned. We haven't seen him learn those, but it seems to be from him learning a little bit of temptation from the dark side, what that means. There's some stuff in the Clone Wars, too, cartoon series, where they do dive into some of that stuff with the Guardians of the Wills and getting into the wills themselves and how the Force works, where we see Yoda tempted by that and what it could be. So I don't think it would be out of realm at all, especially with Dave Filoni being a part of the storytelling. With the Rebels, he did with Ezra, bringing him from this cocky kid up through into power, through the dark side, back down to the light, and kind of flirting back and forth. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Dave want to take Grogu through some of that.
As soon as I seen him throwing stormtroopers around that, I'm like, oh, anger leads to hate, hate leads to anger, anger leads to pain, and pain to the dark side. Like,
could be interesting.
All right.
Star Wars is all about this whole chosen one supposed to bring balance, but what that actually means. So that'd be interesting to see where that goes for sure.
So we're not, and I'm going to say it out loud, and I know I don't want to, but we are not going to get any more Mandalorian until December of next year. We are a year away after tomorrow from The Mandalorian. However, we talked about a lot of the things that we're going to get instead of. So we will be distracted. It will be fun.
We're not getting all of those right now.
I know, but we're getting
a lot of those are drug out through 2023.
I'm trying to help. I'm trying to think of the bright side of this.
Damn you, Disney, for playing the long game. We want it now.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on this episode. And I think next week, next Thursday is Christmas Eve. So we might be doing an episode the day before. I don't know. Ty and I will talk about that, and we'll talk about our favorite Disney Christmas movies. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Facebook and YouTube, and thanks for streaming us later if you couldn't do it then. Of course, we'd always love to hear from you. You can email us at multiplanepodcast@gmail.com, or just write a note on our Facebook page or our Instagram, or comment when we're doing live stuff. We love to chat with you.